Thank you very much. It's been remarkable to be a part of Arts Advocacy Day. Hello, New Jersey. I see you with your signs. Thank you. I was born in New Jersey, in case you wondered what that was about. But I was raised in California, so where's California? Last night, I asked many times in the course of my speech, does it matter? And it's been very encouraging to be here, to be able to listen to such a wide body of senators and congressmen who have answered that question today. Yes, it does matter. The arts matter in the United States. I think arts and culture is, without question, the most important export that we exchange around the world. Countries may go to war, but it's culture that unites us and that teaches us and makes us better as human beings. And so it is vital that we send that message to all of the senators and the congressmen. Maya Angelou said it, I think, brilliantly and briefly when she said, we want young people to join street theaters so they don't join street gangs. And I think that's also true. And as I said last night, in paraphrasing the remarkable young president who believed in the arts and for whom the center that we were at last night and I was speaking at is named in his honor, in paraphrasing President Kennedy, ask not what your country can do for the arts, ask what the arts can do for your country. And that's a message that we can send out today and every day that this fight and this struggle continues. I want to, in a sense, pretend like the subcommittee is actually hearing today. Sorry that they're not, but I want very much, and I know that all of us want very much, for the message that we would have sent, that we could have sent, that we intend on sending, still gets heard. So let's pretend, shall we, like a little street theater right here, that we are, in fact, in front of the House Appropriations on Interior and related industries, which I guess we are a related industry. We don't even really get billing when I think about it. I wanted to say the following. My name is Kevin Spacey. I'm delighted to be here on Arts Advocacy Day to ask the subcommittee to approve the budget of $167.5 million for the National Endowment of the Arts, for the creation, preservation, and presentation of arts in America. I'm here today, in a sense, to pursue what Joseph Papp, the great American producer and founder and artistic director of the New York Shakespeare Festival and the Public Theater, believed should be a right for all Americans to have access to the arts, which is why Joe Papp named his theater The Public. I want to tell you why funding for arts programs means so much to me personally, and why I believe that the government should continue their support to provide a valuable source of experience for young people. When I was 13 years old, I grew up in Southern California, and I attended a workshop that was led by the great two-time Academy Award-winning actor Jack Lemmon. We were learning about an Irish play called Juno and the Paycock that Mr. Lemmon was performing at the time with his great co-star Walter Matthau. And when it came time for me to do a scene with Mr. Lemmon observing, I did it in the shaky voice of a young person without much self-esteem or confidence. But once I finished, Mr. Lemmon came over to me. He put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "That was a touch of terrific." No, I'm not kidding. This is a born actor. He told me that I should go to New York to study and become an actor. And sometimes a person of experience, and it just so happened that Jack Lemmon was a huge idol of mine, can say just the right words at just the right time to a young person and change their life. Jack Lemmon saw something in me, my potential, that I hadn't even recognized. That praise, that experience, that moment shaped me and shaped the course of my life. Through that exposure to the arts, I found my sense of self-esteem, and I discovered my own confidence. So I'm here today in part to pay tribute to people like Jack Lemmon and Joe Papp, who would later hire me when I started my professional career in New York, and to the thousands of teachers and students across this country, many of whom have descended on Washington, D.C. this week, who have and will experience the same kind of cathartic change that I did when I discovered what the arts meant to me at such a young age. Jack Lemmon had a philosophy, which I have now adopted as my own. He believed that if you had been successful in the career you wanted to be successful in, then it is your obligation to spend a good portion of your time sending the elevator back down. I've always thought that was a wonderful way of putting it. Sending the elevator back down. That is a phrase I've now adopted as my own. Because we can all send the elevator back down. Doesn't matter what floor we live on. In life, there's always someone just below waiting for the chance to be invited up. Our job is to make sure the floors we live on are not so high that we can no longer hear the voices of young people crying out for a great opportunity and an experience that will help shape their lives and shape a better future for this country. The positive outlook is alive today in my old alma mater, Chatsworth High School in the San Fernando Valley, a suburb of Los Angeles. The entire district has changed a great deal since I was in school there in the mid-1970s, but what has remained consistent are the Drama Teachers Association of Southern California's efforts to include a remarkable series of programs for young people in the arts. When I attended Chatsworth, my drama class had a number of budding young performers. I, for example, played Captain Von Trapp in our high school production of The Sound of Music, with my fellow classmate Mare Winningham playing Maria. Val Kilmer was also in our class, as well as other remarkably talented budding artists, and one of my best friends from that class is now a teacher of drama at a charter school in Los Angeles County. And as it did when I attended, Chatsworth takes part in the annual Shakespeare Festival. This high school drama program taps into the exact same vein of self-esteem that I experienced over 25 years ago. And in order to highlight the value of these kinds of programs for young people, I have been a part of producing a documentary film called Shakespeare High that follows 3 groups of high school students as they prepare for and participate in the 90th annual Shakespeare Festival. This film, which will make its world premiere at next month's Tribeca Film Festival, highlights how these young people who are facing difficult challenges at home, including poverty and gangs and drugs and a lack of positive mentors, still find the ability to commit themselves to competing, driving themselves to push harder, discovering a world of creative possibilities, learning to embrace the depth and the challenge of performing the works of the greatest writer of them all, William Shakespeare, and to allow their self-growth and self-discovery to be the primary focus of their success. Now, it's hard, I know, to communicate that dynamic, that personal growth that young people get when they engage and are exposed to artistic endeavors. I suppose it's somewhat similar to how those in Congress and the Senate try to connect to their constituents, to convey to them their thoughts and their reasoning, and likewise learning about their constituents' ideas as well. I think we all recognize that leadership in Congress or the Senate, those abilities as public servants rely to a great extent on the ability to deliver a persuasive case to your audience. And these are the exact same skills that are being awakened in these young students who have discovered through the power of Shakespeare what his words can mean today and how exploring his ideas, his rhythms, his extraordinary understanding of the human condition can add to the prospects of young people across this country, whether or not they want to go into a profession in the performing arts. Now, no one believes that the National Endowment is solely responsible for these efforts alone. There are many ways to finance an arts project, especially a theater project, as the current NEA chairman, Rocco, would tell you. I started learning about the business of theater when Joseph Papp hired me to do office work at the New York Shakespeare Festival in Manhattan in 1982. And that was many years ago. And for the past 8 years, as you've heard, I've been the artistic director of the Old Vic Theatre in London. I started a website 9 years ago called TriggerStreet.com, borrowed a name from a street in the San Fernando Valley where I grew up near, that was named for Roy Rogers' horse, Trigger. It's an avenue, this website, for young writers and directors and other emerging talents who might not otherwise have a platform for their work. And all of the work that I do at the Old Vic through our Old Vic New Voices program to support emerging actors and writers and directors and producers has been of enormous impact to me and incredible satisfaction. An NEA grant gives an arts organization in the United States a highly leverageable stamp of approval. It means that an organization can go talk to business groups and corporations and individuals and patrons about supporting their efforts. It means that the hours that an organization spends filling out the detailed grant applications are actually worth it. The ideas and plans that you have assembled for your productions have been recognized as a considerable contribution to the community in which you live. And so to me, an NEA grant isn't about the art itself. It's about the country, our country, this country, sending the elevator back down. Those are the ideas that build businesses, leverage dollars, provide jobs, and create something meaningful that improves the lives of so many citizens in this country. And let me conclude my remarks in front of my imaginary subcommittee to thank you for your work, and certainly those in this room today, on behalf of the NEA and your support of the arts. I know and have certainly heard that these are challenging times, and that support for the NEA has taken over a decade to rebuild itself from the mid-1990s. I appear today as an example, as a tangible evidence that, if you will, that supporting these types of programs can have such a remarkable effect on someone's life. I join my other colleagues in respectfully requesting that the subcommittee allocate the $167.5 million to the National Endowment of the Arts so that arts and arts education can remain valuable investments in the communities they serve. I thank you very much for the honor of testifying before you today, and I will be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you very much.